What's up, Max Ordinate Nation? Jeff, how you doing, dog?
Fantastic.
Dude, I'm
My
looking at your
background's changed.
I'm looking at your background and I can't even tell. I mean, I could kind of tell if you look close, but where's the corner at? It's a very trippy room that you're in right now.
I wonder if those lines are going to mess up the camera.
It's gonna
Yeah,
look
like
so
blinds
awesome.
make cameras all weird.
Dude, we're gonna get
But
excellent reviews. This is gonna be the highest rated video that we have.
my plan. All 11 people are going to give us a thumbs up.
Hey, we're averaging. What are we averaging? I guess it depends. Like if you look at our YouTube for men's health, people don't fucking care.
They don't care.
Zero. There is zero care
Nope.
about men's health.
That's not for them.
But goddamn, if you talk about the Sniper Adventure Challenge, motherfuckers all
Mhm.
over that shit. So,
We know the audience.
I'm reading this book right now. It's called Contagious, and it's about how things go viral. And there's like six principles of like making something that takes off, right? Pretty interesting book. And yeah, in specifically in the principles, it says don't talk about men's health.
Is it really?
No.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me.
So I figured today we'll it'll be a two-part thing, right? One we'll talk about kind of, we've discussed in the past developing your own training plan,
Mhm.
but what goes into that, right? And then like how do you structure it and not just the training itself, but how do you like build your plan? Like how do you break it down? Like, what do I want to learn here today? Or like, what I want to perfect? I've already learned this skill, right? But now I need to perfect it. I need to master it. I need to get those 10,000 perfect reps or whatever it is. And then I also want to discuss a firearms instructor, like not a specific one, but being a firearms instructor, right? So we could start there. I already have it pulled up on Google. I keep seeing these fucking advertisements for become a tactical hide certified instructor. So I'm
Love
like,
that.
um, I want to say 5 years ago. It's been a while, but they had basically reached out and they wanted to attend our precision rifle course and give us a review and all this shit. And basically it's us giving them a free class and then hoping that they write something that's worthwhile and beneficial, right?
Yeah.
uh I think I ultimately said no. I just didn't like the vibe or how I was perceiving what we were giving for what we were getting. And so now I'm starting to see these advertisements like, hey, become a tactical hive certified firearm instructor. So finally, after seeing like five of these fucking ads, I had already messaged you like, dude, this is the next evolution in our company.
Yep.
We are not certified by Tactical Hive, and that is the next step. That's the next level up, dude. That's it
That's
right
where we
there.
got to be.
That's where we got to be, right? And I've always kind of looked at it as like I don't like putting the word tactical into any of our advertisements. Like I just the more you're in this industry, the more you fucking hate that word,
Yeah.
you know? And there's obviously buzzwords, like if we called our if we called our gas gun course urban sniper, like the
Hmm.
military course that I run, the amount of people that would show up in camouflage, like I'm here to learn how to be an urban sniper,
Yeah.
like
They're all in black multicam.
what did you call it? LARPing?
Yeah. Hey, I'm
Would
all about, look, when I go out to the range, if I throw a vest on, look, I don't do this for a job anymore. I am LARPing. 100% own it.
what did you think about my parody video, which you said
Ah,
I
it was
was
amazing.
not doing parody?
I just didn't know it was parody. I just figured that was you at the range. Someone had to tell me that you were making a joke.
Well, I mean, is there any difference between taking 1,000-yard shot and taking a 50-yard shot?
Nope, just your win call. I mean, actually, your win call should really be the same. It's just your dope.
Dude. So I was spinning the Kestrel around, and my plan the whole time was to let that thing go. But I started swinging it, and I didn't realize until after I let it go that I was swinging it forward. So it just took a nosedive right into the ground. I'm like, oh, fuck, that hit harder than I anticipated, but we're good. I closed the
Good.
cover. So
Yeah, no,
I
you're
think it
fine.
still works, I had a lot of fun with that video, man. I'm at the range and some of the dudes that I'm there, it's our practice day. And so I'm like, hey, I need to take this video really quick. I'm like, you hold my phone, stand over here. I'm going to stand right here. And I'm going to be looking very stoic looking.
Stoic. That's
And
the
you're
word
going
I was looking for
to,
also.
and you're going to come in towards
Oh,
me. And then I'm going to look at the camera. I'm going to say, it's time to make the shot. Like we had to film this like 4 different times because motherfuckers wouldn't stop laughing. Like, this is Instagram, fellas. This is it right here. You gotta show for the camera. So, anyways, certified firearms instructor. And you apply, right? I'm looking at it right now. It's a 3-step process. Apply for level 1 certification. The first step is to complete our short application, which you can access here. We want to make sure you're a good fit for the program and that the program is a good fit for you. Select applicants will be contacted to schedule a firearm instructor certification interview. Now you
interesting.
go to number 2, step 2, pass our online certification program. So if you qualify for the instructor certification, you will get access to our comprehensive online certification program that covers our methodology, core programming, performance standards, and how to teach students effectively. We also share business best practices. Step 3, pass our 2-day in-person instructor evaluation. After passing our online program, you'll be invited to take our in-person evaluation where we test your ability to meet our shooting and teaching standards. After successful completion, you'll receive the instructor credentials and certified instructor welcome kit. So they're
Okay.
not really teaching you how to be a firearms instructor. They are asking you to pay money to get certified under their umbrella. And now you get, you know, what we would get out of this is all of our advertisements. We could put a little stamp in the corner. It says Tactical Hive certified.
Yeah, I mean that and $5 I can get a cup of coffee.
So what are your thoughts? Because I'm scrolling through this.
I mean, honestly, for me, it's no different than going online and becoming an ordained minister so I can marry somebody. It doesn't really mean anything.
Ooh,
You
that's a
know,
good comparison. I
it's
didn't think about that.
if I'm not, there's a lot of different. I've been to a lot of different like firearms instructor schools, and at the end of the day, they're just a class to take to check a box, right? The
Mhm.
classes you take, the certifications you have, they don't make you a good, better, bad, or indifferent instructor. You either have the skills to be an instructor or you don't. So I don't necessarily disagree with like what's the difference if you take one of their classes they call you an instructor or they just watch you for 2 days and they call you an instructor. Like, I mean, you're not going to learn how to be a firearms instructor in 2 days, right? Like that's not a 2 day skill set.
Yeah, I don't. Again, like reading it, I don't think they're teaching you shit.
No.
They're giving you a test, and after your interview, if you pass the test, now you are certified. And our instructor certification gives you the recognition of meeting our high standards of shooting and instruction. We will list you on our website as a certified instructor. However, you are responsible for promoting your classes, and your business. So, yeah, I don't know, man.
I
Like,
mean, it's in practice, it's just a good way for them to get backlinks to their website, right? So if I pay them, they're trying to create a community. And I don't know anything about them, so I could be completely off base, right? These could be fucking tier 19 operators here that know more than I do,
yeah.
but um typically something like this is, pay me money. I will certify you that you're in our group of cool people.
Yeah.
And then we'll put a link on your website and we expect you to do the same. And that's just a way to create traffic for the site. It's, I don't want to say it's a big Ponzi scheme, but it's kind of just a big Ponzi scheme.
It's kind of a Ponzi scheme, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple places like, okay, before this, you had Sniper's Hide, right?
Mhm.
You could have a Sniper's Hide account and you could post your trainings up on there. You also had cow guns, right? You
Mhm.
could post your training up on cow guns. Some of these forums or message boards, you had to pay to be a member, like a yearly amount or something like that. I remember we
Mhm.
used to post on cow guns. Sniper Side, same thing. We used to just throw our classes up on Sniper Side,
Mhm.
and you could find our classes inside the training section. So obviously it's evolved. You've got Tactical Hive, which has a whole website built on take these classes. Here's some gun reviews. Here's some class reviews. Become a certified instructor. Here is the people that we vetted, right? So on one side of it, it's like, can you just pay? Can you just pay to be a vetted instructor?
So do you think they've ever turned money down?
I don't know. That's my question because it's worthless to me if they take your money, they interview you, give you some rinky dink test, and now you're a vetted instructor. I'd be fucking pissed if I'm a person looking for classes and I go through their vetted instructor list. Like right now, I'm looking for a shotgun class for Southern California, right?
Okay.
For me, I don't trust the fucking internet. Like, I definitely don't trust this website to tell me who I should go to, right?
Mhm.
Because now instead of being the one who's providing the training, I'm looking for the training. And I know that I'm going to pay anywhere from, $5 to $1,000 for a 2-day shotgun course, right?
Mhm.
You don't want to waste that money. So who am I going to go to? Hey, Jeff, I need a fucking shotgun class, dude. And then I'm gonna hit up some of my dudes from LAPD, LA sheriffs, and I'm going to reach out to people I know and kind of hone in on a common name that everybody talks about, right? Because there's nothing stronger than word of mouth,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's
So
not pay to play, right? So I think the difference is I can get a group of names
yeah,
from I can get a name from a group of people who have no dog in the fight and they've got nothing to gain by giving me a name of somebody they trust, or I can get a name by a group of people that will only give me the names of somebody that paid them.
true. Yeah, and that's kind of what I feel like we're at right now.
Yeah.
So you got some like, okay, their model is let's let's set up training and people will pay us for training, and then
Mhm.
let's set up a vetted area and people will pay us to be vetted, and then let's set up a certification program and now people will pay us to get certified. So that is kind of their window to income stream. There's another, they reach out, it's called the Training Arena, and it's started by a female. Her name is April. She's up in Northern California, San Francisco area, I think. And she had reached out. She wanted to link up at SHOT Show and kind of discuss her program. We haven't agreed to anything. Like I haven't even brought it to you yet and said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" All we did was have the initial conversation, like what she's building. So she's building a online location where you can find instructors, you can find um, training reviews. She's got a blog that she writes. She attends all this training. She writes blogs about it, stuff like that. But my first question to her after she gave me this whole pitch was, okay, how are you vetting people? Like, we've talked about that before.
Mhm.
And, there's not a database you could just type a company or an instructor into and boom, their star ratings show up. So how are you vetting people? Like, how are you vetting me right now? And she's like, well, we're not looking to take on a whole bunch of people all at once. We're looking for, a few instructors per discipline. I'm like, okay. And then once we find people, then we start reaching out to contacts that we have around the nation. And we ask, like, do you know about this company? Do you know about this person? What are they like? Are they good instructors? Yada, yada, yada. So they're trying a method of word of mouth vetting.
Mhm.
And then if everything checks out, then they want to look at, hey, can we work together? And what they want to do is the way that they are trying to revenue stream is with the instructors that they choose, they want to do training videos, almost like not the Magpul shit, but the Panteo Productions.
Mhm.
You remember them?
I do. And now, if you remember, probably about 3, maybe 4 years ago, I brought up something similar to you.
You did. Yes.
And here's where, and so I like that, like the idea of she's vetting, she's trying to find the right people. Um, but here's where I think the gun industry doesn't know what to do with itself.
It doesn't.
It doesn't know how to make money because everyone's just kind of like, look, how do I make money? You got some of the best instructors in the world, some of the best guys I know, um, are just grinding out classes because they haven't figured out a business model.
Yeah.
And then there's guys that I know that are just, I mean, I wouldn't send anybody I know to one of their classes, but because their name's big,
Yeah.
they're raking in money, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that me and you talked, well, one of the things I brought to you was, and good friend of mine, he does a platform like this for golf, and it's an online portal. You log in, you have these classes, it's this whole online thing, and he's just, the revenue stream's amazing, right? The business model is amazing, and it's a really good format.
Yeah.
Um, but where I would say we as an industry, I don't even like to include myself in it, but where the industry suffers is that when I started looking for people to bring to the table to create that type of platform for the gun industry, right? So a precision rifle guy, a handgun guy, a carbine guy, just different disciplines to like do these online classes,
Yeah.
instructional videos, forum to discuss them, and all kinds of things, right? Um, what I ran up against was, well, how popular are they? Do they have enough followers to create enough buzz? And that's really what it came down to, and that's why the whole thing fell on its face.
Yeah.
I could have launched this and probably made a lot of money,
Yeah.
but I dug my heels in the ground and I was not willing to bring aboard a very specific instructor who will not be named, because even though he has a huge following now and still does.
Yeah.
Um, my answer was no, I'm not going to work with him.
Yeah.
I don't believe in his methodology. I don't believe in what he does. It's just it is what it is. And so if that's the deal breaker, cool. And then it never went anywhere.
Yeah.
And it just becomes a popularity contest.
That's that's half of the battle, right? So that's kind of what she's setting up is she wants to have this group of people that are not connected. Each one has their own discipline. She makes these training videos and then she starts using those videos to generate revenue. And then she promotes the instructors, their classes, and then also they're attempting to sell school seats. So let's say that we get involved with this. We make
Mhm.
some training videos, we do our part of the pie, and we're back to doing our normal operating. And then she sells training courses on her website for our training. And then she takes a cut of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's a way that a place could set up like a revenue stream, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then, um, so these guys, my homie, I call him Savage all the time because
Mm-hmm.
he's Native American, and I don't do it out of like hate. We were we were at Steel Safari one day, and somebody said like, "Dude, that's savage." And he looks at them as like, I fucking hate that word. He's like, just fucking hate it. And I was like, you're a savage. And it just kind of stuck. So
It's
like it's a internal joke now to like, say this. But his name is Justin, super cool dude, Rifle Coalition. And he's been developing this program for I'd say like 3 or 4 years now, like trying to push this idea further and further, but he's paying for it himself, right? Selling
Mhm.
t-shirts, generating money that way. And his goal is to kind of do the same thing where you are setting up an online portal where you can get information, you can get these are all the instructors across the nation that you could go to. Here's this podcast for you. Here's pistol, here's this, here's competitions. Like it's a window to firearms world, right? And he's trying to keep it unbiased and you can leave reviews on companies, right? So now you're kind of being held accountable. Don't fuck this up or people are going to talk shit, right?
Mhm.
And the way he wants to generate income and revenue, everybody's starting businesses to generate income. Like if you think somebody's just starting something because they think it's a cool idea, like all of this shit takes time, money, and effort.
Yeah,
Don't think that you're not trying to get money out of it, which you shouldn't be mad at anybody that's trying to do that, right? They're doing something,
absolutely.
you didn't do it, right? And now they're trying to make money off of it. So he wants to pull money from like advertising, big like training companies. Hey, how much does it cost for me to run an ad across the top of your, website for the year? Oh, it's going to cost this. All right, cool. Ammo companies, different rifle companies, like trying to approach it so that big companies are footing the bill for what he wants to do. And that's not a bad way to go either, as long as you have the numbers behind the website traffic to demand that type of money from big companies.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all
Yeah, I
interesting
mean,
ideas.
so the goal is always scalability, right? If we
Yeah.
put on if we put on 52 classes a year, we could probably fill all 52 of them and you would be working 52 weeks a year
Yeah.
and you would never take a break, right? That's not scalable.
No.
The goal is to figure out how to scale it, which is passive income, money coming in when you're not physically doing something, something that I can continue to take as many dollars for advertising as I can get because it doesn't cost a person's time to bring that money in. So I think that's where the gun industry is just trying to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
In where that revenue stream, where the business model is for all this, because yeah, there's a handful of guys that are successful putting on classes that have, um, locations where they can have people come and use their range to make classes, and then they get a chunk of that. They get $50 a head or whatever it is for these people. There's a lot of different people that have been successful out of it, but not as many as there are people that are qualified and
Yeah.
or capable to do that. Just because it's it's a tough place to break into,
Yeah.
but it's just a weird space.
Yeah.
Like
It is.
at the core of it, the shooting industry is people physically shooting guns. How do you make money off of that? Well, fuck, I don't know.
I mean, is anything different in this industry versus the rest of the world, right? A lot of the times it's not about what you know, it's about who you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Absolutely. I will say until I will tell anybody that'll listen to me. The only reason why my business is successful, my security company, is because I knew enough people that would give me the business because of the relationships I made. That was
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I could have offered the same product and had people not known me, or had I not known these people, I wouldn't have had the business I have.
yeah.
So everything that I have, I've gotten off the backs of somebody else that I know or a relationship that I've made. And that's every industry. That's
That's
pretty much
everybody. Yeah,
that's everybody.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you on that, man. So, thoughts, final thoughts on how or what Vetted. What is vetted? What does it mean? Like,
Well, I mean, again, though, we can go back to podcast number 43 or whatever the hell it is, right? When we talked about this. How
yeah,
do you vet your instructors?
yeah,
I mean, we did a whole podcast on it. It's tough, but I can tell you that I struggle with any vetting that's pay to play.
true.
Like if someone comes to me and was like, "Hey, I want to get you in this program," we're like, "Cool. Um, how the hell do you even know me?"
Yeah.
Well, like we saw your page and thought you'd be a cool fit. I see ya.
We're going to have to do it. We're going to have to go undercover and do this vetting
I will
process.
sign up tomorrow.
We're going to do it. We're undercover. We got to come up with a name for it though. Undercover Tyler, Jeff.
Well, let's not call it UTI, which would be undercover tactical instructor.
All right. So moving along, talk about whether you're an instructor or you're a individual and you're trying to set up your own training plan. And like we've kind of hit the wave tops on this before, like you need to go into your training with a plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you take like, hey, we're going to teach this course, like we have the the urban precision course coming up in May. Now we set it up, it's on the website. We brought it back after taking it away last year, because people are asking, hey, I want to take a course for my precision gas gun, my gas gun that has a scope on it. We don't even know if it's precision yet, right? It
Yeah.
could be the shittiest fucking gun out there, but you put a scope on it and now you want to learn how to use it. All right, cool. So where, like how do we build a class for that? And that is kind of like, I don't like a lot. I don't like everything in the military, right? There's some good shit in the military, and then there's some other shit where you're like, okay, I can do the fuck away with this. I no, not doing all that, right? But one thing that is kind of cool is when you look at how do you build a class in a military setting and then start getting it approved in terms of like the Marine Corps approving this training for you to teach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you have some things where it's like at the unit level, you just throw a PowerPoint together and teach a fucking class and that's it. But nobody's, holding you to a certain standard for that class. Nobody's keeping you on task with the information that you need to push, right? It's just, hey, I'm going to teach a class of my dudes today, and this is it. Now, when you start thinking like bigger level, like at the schoolhouse, like here we are, we're at, the special missions branch, and we're going to push this course. And it's like, all right, well, where do we start? First is training standards, and they call it TNR standards. And you can look it up like for a scout sniper, what are the training standards that they want you to kind of achieve, right? And you got different level. You got like the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Like this bitch will go. And each level is a different piece of the pie. You got like individual level, then you got team level, and then you've got platoon level, right? And so these taskings are, how do I describe it? Almost like wickets that you have to hit. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So when you start looking at like, okay, I want to build this urban precision class for I want to revamp it. I want to make it better. Okay, well, what was the old class? And what were the training standards that we're trying to achieve? Okay, well, I want everybody to be able to do this, right? And so kind of you look at the training standards, say, okay, everybody needs to engage the mover with, 5 impacts out of eight attempts or whatever the case is. All right. So that could be a training standard. And then you start looking at like, what about our training objectives? So what do we want to get out of this course? What do we want students to walk away with in terms of they've attended this 2-day gas gun course? What is our realistically, what are things that we can demand or want to focus on? This is basically the meat and potatoes of your course.
Yeah.
right? You got to have these training objectives so that you know how to make the course flow. So if you look at the precision rifle course, setting up your own rifle is one of those training objectives. Like the student needs to be able to leave to set up their own gun to fit them, right? Kind of the same thing is like, you know, demonstrate what, you can demonstrate physically or you can explain verbally what is a recoil bubble. Does that make sense? Like some of
Mhm.
this stuff is just, again, you're not expecting them to be able. I say this and people might criticize it, but again, if you only got 2 days with these people, your goal is not to make them superstars in 2 days. Your goal is to educate them so that they can further their superstardom as they continue practicing, right?
Yeah, our
So,
goal, our only goal in that 2 days is to give them the tools to go practice later.
yeah.
That's it.
So you can have training objectives where it's like, this guy must be able to do this. He must be able to shoot one MOA. What if he didn't show up with the right ammo because he didn't
Yeah.
fucking know better? Or he doesn't have the right rifle, or he's just not good enough yet, right? Again, you got to put the training into perspective and say, am I going to demand performance? Or am I more focused on does this guy understand what we're trying to do and how we're getting there and the why behind everything? Right. So some of these things could be verbal, like, hey, I need this dude to be able to tell me what the recoil bubble is and why it matters. Right. And if he understands that leaving the class, then I feel like that training objective is achieved. He may not be capable of doing that yet, but if it's beat into his head that this is a training objective, then it's going to stick. Right. And now he can focus on that.
Yeah, and we give him in class, we give him the drills
Yeah.
to practice and achieve that,
Yep.
and then we give him the qualification drill to measure where he's at. And
Yeah.
those are two different things, right?
Hmm.
You give somebody a drill to train the skill set, and then you give somebody a qual to measure their skill in that drill.
Yeah.
And,
100%.
and that a lot of times is what get mixed up is guys will go out and just shoot quals over and over again. Like, I'm not getting better. Well, you're just shooting the fucking match. Like, I'm not going to get better just shooting a match over and over again. I need the drills to improve my skill set to go
Yeah.
shoot the match.
Yeah. Got to be some training in there. Right. So some other things that we try to focus on is like analyzing your shot group, right? Because I feel like that's a pretty fucking important skill
Mm-hmm.
is understanding when you shoot groups downrange at 100 and you go down there and you look at it and you say, damn, they're not all in one hole. Is that the only thing you're looking for? Or when you look at your shot group, you're like, damn, this group right here, it is going straight left to right. It's like 1.5 inches wide, and I just got this horizontal string. What does that mean to you? Well, that if we have done our job and educated you on analyzing shot groups, then you'd be able to look at that group and say, I feel like my natural point of aim is off, right? Some kind of horizontal instability is taking place. Is it natural point of aim? Is it inconsistent trigger press? Like something's got to give, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's my recoil look like? So you start breaking these things down. And I always tell dudes at the class, like, hey, as a precision rifle shooter, trying to get as much precision out of the system and yourself, you're kind of like a scientist, right? So hear me out. If you shoot a group and you go down and you analyze it, right? And it's like, well, it could be your natural point of aim. It could be this, it could be that, right? How's your recoil management? So you got these 4 different things. If you change everything all at once, you're not learning anything, right? You got to take what these 4 problems could be. Like it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. Say, okay, you know what? I'm going to fix my length of pull. I'm going to rebuild my rifle, set it up so that it fits me. and then you shoot another group and nothing changes. All right, cool. Well, we know it's not the rifle, right? All right, I'm gonna really focus on my natural point of aim. So you focus on your natural point of aim, build it, check it, you shoot it, and now your groups have gotten a lot better, but not completely where you want them. You're like, oh shit. But that fixed something, right? That helped
Mhm.
you somewhere. You're like, okay, maybe it's my trigger pull. So now you set up a camera and you watch your trigger and you notice when you fire, you're doing this shit, right? And your fingers popping off the trigger. So now you're showing signs of tapping the trigger instead of press. And you identify each one of these problems one by one. You try to solve them so that you can see what the issues actually are. But you see it a lot where it's like you correct so many things at once, you never really learned what the issue was to begin with.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
for sure.
And that's where the scientist part comes in. As like a scientist, how many times do you see scientists change four different variables? They don't. They do it one at a time and analyze the results, right? So you kind of got to do the same thing as you're looking to improve your shooting. But back to the training objectives and kind of like these training standards for our precision rifle course. What would you say in your mind? You have never seen the actual course training objectives that I've written down. It's like, this is what I want out of this course. Here's the subjects we're going to include. Here's going to be the focus. And here are the things that I want the students to be capable of when they leave here, right? You've not actually seen the paper. You've seen the PowerPoint and how things are laid out and all the
Mhm.
subjects that are included, but the paper that I wrote to build the course, you haven't seen. So I want to know what your opinion is. Like you take Precision Rifle 1, Max Ordinate Academy, and you say, well, I think, Tyler, we should have this. I want to hear what you think. What are your thoughts?
I mean, so I would say they would all be the objectives
Hmm.
would be understanding. And I think that's where they would kind of end, right? PR1 should be the objective should be for the students to come away with an understanding of how to set their rifles up,
Yeah.
an understanding of interior and exterior ballistics,
Yeah.
an understanding of all these things that we do in PR1, but understanding them first so they can have the tools to go practice it, right? So knowing how to set their rifle up, understanding not only how to do it but why,
Yeah.
and then a lot of it after that is really understanding in theory but giving them the tools to take home later.
Yeah. Some of that you're going to execute. Like you're going to go
Yeah,
to
oh,
the
for
100-yard
sure.
line. You're going to
Of
execute
course.
some of these things. And would you say that outside of the objective you just listed, like a lot of them are administrative, they're educational, they're
Mm-hmm.
informative, and we want to make sure that you understand that classroom section. And we want to make sure you understand how to put your rifle together. And then we go to the range and we execute some drills, which further enhances all of the classroom shit you just learned, right?
Correct.
Would you say that there's any training objectives or learning objectives in terms of a performance standard? Would you want a performance standard? And this doesn't mean that you pass or fail, right? We got away from the passing and failing of PR1 and PR2 a long fucking time
Yeah.
because we're not certifying you for anything. We're trying to pass on knowledge. So to me, it didn't make sense of like, well, this guy didn't know what precision ammo was. He didn't know what match grade meant. Like he bought what he could. He showed up with this rifle. He's here to learn. And now we're gonna fail him on what? Right?
No, but I think one of the objectives is know what the standard should be,
Hmm.
but it doesn't mean that they should necessarily leave the class at that performing at that level. I would actually probably say they probably aren't going to. It'd be
Yeah.
nice if they would,
Yeah.
um, but they just have to know what that performance standard is so they can train to that standard.
True. Would you say that it's pretty logical thinking? You have a student who's at this level, and then they come to the class, right? They're at bare minimum. They're almost at
Mhm.
zero. And they've read some shit online. They show up to the class and they kind of get this, right? This steep rise. Over a two
Mhm.
day period, they are just getting injected with information. And then they're being pushed on the range to do things the right way. Hey, fix your position. What's your recoil bubble look like? Got to make your wind call. Like we do all of this shit.
Yeah.
And for 2 days, you're under the close watch of one of us. So you come up here, right? By the end of day two, even day three, if you take day three, you're up here. And then the next time you go to the range is 2 or 3 weeks later. And
Absolutely.
this is where you're back at, right? Because there's
Even I
nobody
look,
there for you.
even when I go to the range, like I just had this discussion last night talking to my partner for SAC. I was
Yeah.
like, I need range time. We were laying out we were laying out my training schedule and objectives for SAC, right?
Hmm.
I got a little setback because the stem cells kind of beat me up a little harder than I thought they were right now. But he's like, you don't need to go to the range. You're good. Like practice on land nav. I said, I don't think you understand. I have some very specific things I need to go train
Yeah.
because once we're out there and I can't see straight, I'm going to fall back to that training. Right. So even when I go out there, or I would assume even when you go out there, there's times we go out there and I'm working on this one specific thing. I can't work on these 9 things.
Yeah.
I've got to go out there and work on this one thing because I'm at this level. So they're not going to be at that. Hey, here's day 3, and 2 weeks later they go to the range. But like, fuck yeah, dude, I'm even better.
Yeah.
No, bro, you're going back to how do I remember how to set my rifle up?
So back at the end of January, we had student of ours come through the PR3. And PR3 is our precision mountain course. It's heavily
Mm-hmm.
focused on, everybody wants to like, oh, it's the high angle,
High
like,
angle class.
yeah. Yes, we're doing high angle, okay, but the focus of the course is terrain that forces you to find a position that you can be stable and engage from, right? So that puts us
It's
on the side of a
it's
mountain.
it's learning the ability to not break your ankle and hurt your elbow when you're shooting a rifle on the side of that fucking hill.
Right? So he comes to PR3. We're all done and we're kind of hanging out by the fireplace, and every day we do kind of like a go around the circle of, you know, something good, something bad, something that you're going to focus on being better at tomorrow, right? And I started implementing that here at the Urban Cyber School, and I actually pulled this from a book I was reading about an Olympic shotgun shooter, and something that they implement in is every day. It's what did I do well today, and then what didn't I do not so well, and then what is one thing I'm going to improve on tomorrow. Like tomorrow I'm going to try to do everything right, but there's going to be one thing I know needs improving, and I'm going to work hard to make that correction, right? So we're going through our little roundabout the circle debrief, and he says, Tyler, where do I go from here? I'm like, I don't know. You want to go, you're going to go home, right? You're not staying here. And he's like, no, no, I mean, where do I go from here? I've already taken PR1, PR2, and PR3. Like I'm
Uh-huh.
tapped out. And I'm like, okay, I understand the question now. I was like, well, the other option is you can go the gas gun route. Even if it's with a bolt gun, you can go the gas gun route, which is more kind of tailored towards using holdovers and being more familiar with using your reticle and being forced to use your reticle versus being allowed to dial. I was like, that's one way. Um, but let me ask you this. Why wouldn't you just go back? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you've hit one, you've hit two, you've hit three, but how solid is your foundation, right? Are you, in terms of your skill set, are you a three-story building with a skinny foundation, or are you a pyramid, right? Like I think the idea here is that, yeah, you can learn these skill sets for PR1, PR2, PR3. You've gained that knowledge and that information, but now go back to the
Mhm.
beginning. Even if you're not coming to another PR1 course with us, go back to the basics, go back to the prone shooting and start perfecting those fundamentals. And then go through, another training session of PR2 style stuff. And then, keep going back to the beginning because you can never get too good at those things, right? You just another rep, another rep, another rep. If you ask anybody that has done anything world championship quality, they were never afraid to go back to the beginning, right? And it's kind of like that. What was that quote from Bruce Lee? Like he doesn't fear a man who has 10,000 kicks, 10,000 ways that he can kick you, but he
Mhm.
fears the man who's got one kick that he's perfected 10,000 times, right? So it's kind of like that.
Mhm.
Like go
And
back and build that fundamental base and then do it all over again, right? I mean, there's a certain
I mean,
point where
any top level,
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, any top level performer, athlete, any discipline, they all have base drills that they do over and over and over again, reps they do over and over again. Professional athletes that are running these very rudimentary drills over and over again. So, I mean, shit, I think I've sat through PR1, I think 3 times. I mean, I I'd take just PR1 for the rest of my life if that's the only class I could attend, right? Like that is at core what's going to make you better. PR2, PR3 is really cool stuff and teaches you more skills. But if I really wanted to be the best I could be,
Yeah.
I would take PR1 every single time it came out.
Yeah. Yeah. You just I don't you can always learn more, right? But every time you hear something, you'd pick up something new,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you go through PR1 one time and 50% of what's being instructed and taught in a classroom setting is going to stick. Maybe.
Yeah.
And then you go through PR1 another time and you're like, "Damn, this is making fucking sense now." Like this part, right? And now you just added 15% to your understanding level,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. I thought it was an interesting thing. I thought it kind of tied into the learning objectives was like, where do I go once I've passed all the courses? Back to the beginning, god damn
Start over. Yep.
it. So uh back to the final question, or I guess new question, but still tied to learning objectives. What courses would you say need to have a pass fail standard? Not just for us, like you can reference our courses, but in general, are there courses that you feel should have a pass fail standard and then courses that are you're here and we're injecting information and knowledge into you and you're going to leave with that and you are not here to be tested on a standard level?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only pass fail really should be if you're being tested on a standard, right? So every firearms instructor class I've ever taken, the FBI instructor school, my 2 week whatever is my 80-hour post instructor school, actually my SIG arms master instructor school, like every instructor school I've taken, because they were for law enforcement or for I had a standard I had to meet in order to train other people,
Yeah.
they have to have a pass fail.
All of our
Everyone.
law enforcement courses have pass fail. Like,
Correct. So I think anything that is me taking a course that I have to be certified in to pass on to somebody else needs a pass fail. But that's like anything other than that, it's a class. Go take the class. Like, cool. I don't think it needs a pass fail.
so something that involves maybe a career or a
Yeah.
job. definitely got
I
to
mean,
have a
so
pass
so
fail.
here's a good example. At the SIG Master Rifle and Master Pistol Academy, they have their own little training academy.
Yeah.
You're going to take the class and it's going to certify you as one of their master instructors, right? But the only way you get their certificate, coin, chip, whatever, like they have like a like, hey, I passed the course,
Yeah.
is you have to pass the qual.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a really hard qual, and like out of the 30 people in the class, like me and two other dudes got it, right? Like it's a real hard. Everybody gets the same certificate, but only a couple of you get this, hey, I actually passed the fucking qual on it, right?
Yeah.
So there could be little extra tiers, but anything career based, like you need, it's a pass fail. I think you should be able to walk away and go, I didn't pass that course. I'm going to have to do it again if I want to teach somebody else.
Yeah. Do you feel like um it's tricky because some of the states, right? Like Nevada, I have a CCW for Nevada, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to go to the range and shoot and show some proficiency with your pistol. But
Mm-hmm.
dude, it is nothing hard, right? Like,
No, and even in California, it's only 8 hours of classroom, and it's only 15 rounds per pistol you're qualifying with at three
yeah,
different distances. Like it's not hard. I mean, now it's 16 hours, but um, it, I say you have to have, like, okay, so let me back up my statement. I say, yeah, you have to have a pass fail, right, for certain things.
okay,
But the reality is who's setting the standard for the pass fail?
yeah,
So when I say like it needs to have an objective of passing or failing, really it's just for liability.
yeah,
It's for sitting in court when someone gets into a fucking shooting and you can say my instructor did or did not pass their class.
yeah,
Like, really a lot of the time what we talk about, and we don't even do it intentionally, is our standards are based on what's going to happen in a courtroom down the road.
yeah, yeah, 100%, man. Um, you feel the same thing with like law enforcement sniper classes? Like, are we tailoring our quals towards in the courtroom? I mean, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say that we're not. You look at our qualification, like we have two quals, right? We have a
Mm-hmm,
40 round qualification and we have a 20 round qualification.
mm-hmm,
And they're all built around specific skill sets that you need to have show that you have a fundamental ability to accomplish these, right? With a certain margin of error. So you
yeah,
look at the one qual and actually both qualifications. The one qual is 85%. You can miss 7 shots, 7 points, and your cold bore shot is worth 3. So if you miss that fucking cold bore shot, you are 50% down already. You better
mm-hmm,
buckle up. The other qualification is 80%. And you know, out of 20 rounds, you can only miss 4 shots and it's a fail, right? Um, Part of that qualification is so that you have proof in a courtroom that you executed and you showed proficiency. So, I mean, yeah, I would guess I'd be right there with you. Like, we
yeah.
don't tailor the qual for the courtroom, but we definitely want to publicize that this qualification covers all these bases so that if you're sitting in a courtroom, you could say, I trained to this standard on this qualification, right?
So I'll walk it backwards to where I spent the majority of my law enforcement training career setting a minimum standard to get people to pass. Because if I did end up in courtroom, I could show that they did pass.
Yeah.
So this is where law enforcement gets in trouble because they train to such a low standard because they have to train to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
So with the SWAT teams, with any other team you're training, these are selected units, right? We can afford to make the qualification difficult.
As you should.
The patrol guy that is just needing to go shoot his pistol qual once a month just has to hit an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper from 5 yards away and from 10 feet away
Yeah.
and can miss 60%.
Yeah.
It just matters what we set the qual up as to whether or not he passed.
True.
So the qual, like the pass or fail, it's all so subjective. Like at the end of the day, like whatever. I mean, I'm just so fucking whatever about pass fails in classes. And I went to this class. It's like whatever.
Yeah. So civilian courses, there's probably not a lot of them that I guess both of us feel should be a pass fail criteria and more of a we just want to make sure
Right.
you leave here with information to further your abilities, right? We get 2 days with you and we want to set you up for success.
We want to increase your success of becoming a better shooter
Yeah.
for the shooting sports,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And shooting sports is a lot different than a shooting career.
You put that so elegantly, Jeff. That was,
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
man, my eyes are watering a little bit. That was good. All right, man. Well, we've been going for about an hour. Pretty good conversation. Uh, just discussing learning objectives and kind of talking about instructor certifications. Um, do you think, before we get out of here, is there an existing model right now, or do you think that a model will arrive that kind of solves the problem on vetting instructors and who to go to?
Nope.
No?
There's not, and I don't think you'll ever solve it, right? Because it's always going to be subjective.
No.
I could probably pull 5 of like the top guys I know, like the biggest names that I personally know.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, maybe 2 of them I'd recommend, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not a dig on them. It's just it's on the other 3. It's just what I may be going to a class because I want to learn a very specific skill set, or I think this guy's going to teach me something that I need that's different.
Yeah.
Other guys may just be going to a class because they like the new hype, right? We're looking for different things. So it's hard to vet somebody when everybody's looking to get something different out of a class.
Yeah.
If I'm going clinical, like I want the best technique of like, tell me who has the best technique on shooting a pistol. Fuck, I don't know. Again, that's subjective, right? I guess we just got to like look up an IDPA grandmaster and learn from him. Like, so I think it's always going to be tough to vet, right? You just got to, I think it's always going to be what we talked about, word of mouth, look at their credentials, just see what they've done
Yeah.
and fucking roll the dice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I guess reviews are helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Again, word of mouth reviews. Like I would never want somebody to take a class from me just because they're like, oh, I saw you're on a fucking podcast with Tyler. You must be good. No, fucking don't ever take a class from me because of that.
Yeah.
Like if talk to people, figure out like, again, like people taking classes from you. Some people just aren't going to like you. Maybe they're not for it. Maybe they're not for getting classes by Tyler.
Yeah.
Everybody's different.
That's true. That's true. I'm a very likable guy, though, which brings me to, again, my last point before we get out of here. How is our friend who attended PR1?
He's
And
fantastic.
he's good. He's good.
Yeah.
Did you guys have any more discussions
I
about?
give him shit every day. I keep sending him clips of us talking, and I'm going to send him this one.
All right, my man. Well, we got to get out of here. So, to all the listeners, appreciate you guys. The podcast numbers are good. The YouTube numbers, we got to get them bitches up, dude. We got to do something to increase.
We need to work on it. I need to work on it. I need to not have toddlers and babies running around, and so
Yeah,
I can
stop
focus.
Having kids, dude. Stop having kids.
I know. Or I could have very well ended up with one on a leap year. Luckily, I didn't. But happy late birthday to you by a couple days.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
If people didn't know, this is your 10th birthday.
10th birthday. Yeah.
And if they still can, go to the website, use the code for discount on the class.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah. I
still
threw
up.
a discount out there for like a, hey, I finally had a birthday in 4 years. So go ahead and
Mhm.
celebrate on me. So yeah, man. Well, cool. I'm going to get to editing this video and getting it out there. And I will catch you later, Jeff.
Peace.
Peace, brother.